Hello, my name is Scott Paulson. I am a horror host, as well as author, narrator, stuntman, ex-professional wrestler, graphic designer, and social media market manager. But yes, this documentary is strictly about horror hosting. And, a lot of people always ask me, what inspired you to do what you do in horror host? And it comes down to this. I mean, honestly, horror hosts have their own, reason why they horror host. For me, I love the fact that I can produce something that's original from my mind. And, and I love to create images, and as well as I love my character that I actually kind of model my writing around, model my whole horror host persona around. And I'm talking about this guy right here, the one and only KEYMASTER Slasher Poe. Can't really see him, he's all kind of burnt and dead and decayed, and he's but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that goes on that surrounds this character. And honestly, let me go ahead and brighten it up so you can actually see this weirdo. There we go. Anyways, hold on, I didn't even do this real quick. Okay, anyways, so yes, this character right here, the KEYMASTER Slasher Poe, I started out being just a host of chat rooms. I would unlock the door to the horror chat rooms, and it was on an old Facebook page, had about 320,000 followers. With this guy as the main host. And yes, the KEYMASTER Slasher Poe, a lot of people were like, what the hell's the matter with him? And I had this mask designed exclusively for me. This is a one-of-a-kind mask. Nobody in the world has this. But anyways, I wanted something to reflect my love and passion for horror. And the reason why he has half-burnt face is that he actually stuck his face in a fire to see the visions of hell. Because he originally started out as a horror host persona, and he had the storytelling abilities, because everybody knows when I talk like this and get into my narrating, when I get into the narrating side of this character, is he brings you into dark, deep places that a lot of people don't like to venture. And this character alone does everything. I look at this guy and I'm like, this guy does a shitload. But anyways, I do my narrating, my creepypasta stories. But yes, I wanted this character to embody horror. And, for him to the sacrifice that I do to bring you the content, all of the headaches and the production and everything that comes along with doing everything by yourself, it's the sacrifice that he's willing to make to bring you this content. And, the KEYMASTER Slasher Poe, this persona that I created is, probably one of my best inventions when it comes to my characters, because everybody knows I do a lot of voiceovers in cartoons and different areas anyways. But this guy, the voice, I'm just so humbled, and it's a passion to it's a pain in the ass when I actually have to dress up as this character and get all the black on and get everything. I literally have to wrap my face in a different cloth so you can't see anything whatsoever. And it's like 120 degrees when I put the whole outfit on with the claws and everything. And I sit there and I do all my motions, and I record for about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. A lot of people don't catch on to the looping because I'm a master looper, all right? But anyways, yeah, the KEYMASTER Slasher Poe, And a lot of people ask me, what inspired me to get into horror hosting? Because I've been a storyteller. I love visual storytelling. Of course, everybody knows I was a professional wrestler for 17 years, so a lot of my acting and theatrics is visibly seen through my acting. And, and what inspired me really to jump into horror hosting was, I remember John Kassir, the Crypt Keeper. Everybody knows Tales from the Crypt. And when I was a kid, I grew up in a shitty environment. And, all I had was music and TV and horror movies to, brighten me up. And honestly, John Kassir, the first time I heard the entrance music of the Crypt Keeper, and, that automatically gets your attention. You're like, huh? What the hell is this? And, you see the long intro, and then finally at the end, the Crypt Keeper pops up and goes, welcome. You know what I mean? And just seeing him, and then when he comes on screen, he's almost friendly. And, that's something that I wanted to embody as well, is I didn't want to make my character so far over the edge. I wanted him to be more like an orchestrator or more of a helping hand to the horror community. So, I called him the Keymaster. All he does is open the door and exhume the coffins of forgotten horror for you guys. And same thing how he started out with opening the door for chat rooms. I still have the original Keymaster key up there from like 3 years ago. And, this character just seems to evolve and evolve and evolve, and it's awesome. And I don't like to constantly do projects surrounding this character, because I work in so many different areas with voice acting, etc. But, I do have to say this is my gem. This is my pride and joy. I do all of my creative writing. I write about everything. And as well as I'm lucky to have a voice of narrating as well, but, and that seems to be fortunate for me, working in a bunch of cartoons and doing a bunch of voiceovers and different characters. And, but yeah, I wanted to make this documentary exclusively for a YouTube channel, here at the Dead Vault Horror Show, as well as the Chop Block TV page, YouTube channel, so you guys can go subscribe to that as well. A bunch of kick-ass content that we help produce is over there. But yes, and I have to say, man, John Kassir inspired me with his character, with just being comforting, just being a scared little kid, and just hearing him talk and then invite you into watching this spooky movie. And to me, that was everything, because I didn't have anybody to watch movies with. And another one, of course, is Elvira. I love Elvira to death, and it's just not her big boobs. Okay. And yeah, I give homage to where credit is due when it comes to the horror hosting community. And, my hat always goes off to Zachary, those old school creative guys who actually paved the way for us horror hosts these days. And once again, I have to give another big shout out. Like I said, I'm currently the only horror host in Arizona for the past 50 years, besides Dr. Scar from KOLD 13 with Chiller Theater. So, to me, there's a lot of weight on my shoulders when it comes to that. But you know what? As long as I'm producing a monthly show for you guys, that's all what it means to me. Because until somebody else comes along here in Arizona and I can pass the torch to, I will continue to do monthly shows for the Dead Vault Horror Show and bring you all the forbidden coffins of forgotten horror. Alright, but yeah, anyways, and I have to give another big shout out to all of the horror hosting platforms that make the horror host community go round. And of course, horrorhost.net, The Vortex, a big shout out to Sluggo and her crew, as well as Ultra Toxic Television, as well as Other Worlds Television, as well as the Indie Horror Online channel on Roku, as well as Betamax. Another big shout out to those guys who are showcasing the Dead Vault Horror Show. But once again, my friends, it is always a pleasure congregating with you all in the name of horror. And once again, I wanted to take this behind the curtain because everything I do is totally different than what you see with normal horror hosting. You know, I'm more of a transparent ghost type figure where I haunt the movies. I can pop in whenever I want to during the film and chime in with a smart-ass remark or a funny joke or a morbid, dark, just say something dark and morbid to make you just more uncomfortable, you know, because Slasher Poe is all over the place. Like, I like to spice it up differently, you know, and in certain parts in certain films, I like to pull you in deeper so you actually enjoy the film. And, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of the people who watch these films usually just watch them because of the horror host. And I try to make that different, you know, because these movies are actually really fucking kick-ass. You know, if you're not a fan of the old school, then you're not a real fan, because you have to appreciate where horror has came from. You know, old school Monster Kid movies, you know, Dracula, you know, all the good stuff. And, you know, for me, being a horror host, you know, I'm not your typical horror host. I mean, I would have to say that, you know, I like to venture off. Like, say, for 2 months in a row, I'll go ahead and do nothing but old school black and gray classic films. You know, and then maybe for the next 2 months, I'll do straight gory classic slasher 70s films, you know, and then I try to bounce back and forth and spice it up for the fans. But, you know, at the same time, you know, I do so much with this character, and I just got done wrapping up the Cenobite stories by this Slasher Poe. Yeah, man, there's 13 plus bonus stories included in this creepypasta horror DVD that we just got done producing. It's up right now. It's for sale. You can go to the butchermedia.com web store and place your orders there, and as well as I'll get this guy to autograph it as well and send them off to you guys. But yes, and once again, another big shout out to all of the fans out there who support the Deadbolt Horror Show and the Keymaster Slasher Poe. And once again, I will continue to carry the torch here in Arizona, the only horror host here in Arizona on the West Coast. And once again, you know, it's a great honor to fulfill the shoes of Dr. Scar here in Arizona. And once again, from the depths below, into the fog we go. Hello, my name is Scott Paulson. I am a horror host, as well as author, narrator, stuntman, ex-professional wrestler, graphic designer, and social media market manager.